There is a day that most parents never realize they have already passed. It is not the day their child learns to roll over, not the day their child takes their first steps, and not the day their child says their very first word. It is the day their child begins to learn how to listen to their own body, or stops listening to it. The remarkable thing is that this moment usually happens in the most ordinary way. There is no music, no milestone recorded in a development journal. No one celebrates it. No one even notices. Yet it is during those small everyday meals that something incredibly important is taking shape. A child is learning how to understand the signals coming from inside their body. What hunger feels like, what fullness feels like, what comfort feels like, what discomfort feels like, and more importantly, whether those feelings can be trusted. Many years ago, a child psychologist shared the story of an 8-year-old boy. He ate constantly, not only during regular meals, but even right after he had finished eating. When he felt sad, he looked for food. When he felt bored, he looked for food. When he felt disappointed, he looked for food too. At first, everyone thought it was a discipline problem. Some believed he lacked self-control. Others thought he simply loved eating too much. But when they looked deeper, the story turned out to be completely different. From the time he was very young, every time he cried, the adults gave him food. Whenever he felt sad, food appeared. Whenever he did not know what to do with his emotions, food appeared again. Over the years, his brain learned one simple rule. If something uncomfortable is happening inside you, find something to eat. That was not weakness. That was what he had been taught. Quietly, day after day, meal after meal, moment after moment. And the truth is that many children are learning the very same lessons without the adults around them ever realizing it. What makes raising children so unique is that food has never been just food. For adults, a meal may simply be a way to provide energy, but for a growing child, a meal is where the brain gathers information about the world. It is where the nervous system learns what safety feels like. It is where emotions, the body, and relationships begin to connect with one another. That is why some children grow up knowing when to stop eating because they are full, while many adults are still trying to figure out what true fullness actually feels like. Some children know how to listen to their own bodies, while many adults lost touch with those inner signals a very long time ago. The question is, what creates that difference? The first reason begins with something surprisingly unexpected. It happens when mealtime becomes a test. Think about how often adults evaluate children while they are eating. How much did you eat? Did you eat quickly or slowly? Were you a good eater? Were you well behaved while eating? Did you finish everything? Did you gain weight? At first, these questions sound completely normal, but from a child's perspective, they send a very different message, that their worth is being measured by how much they eat. Little by little, mealtime is no longer a place to listen to the body. Instead, it becomes a place to meet expectations. At that point, the child no longer asks, "Am I hungry?" Instead, they begin asking, "Have I made mom and dad happy?" It is a very small shift, but its consequences can last for decades, because once the goal changes from listening to yourself to pleasing someone else, the connection with your own body begins to weaken. The second reason is connected to what psychologists call self-regulation. When a child falls down, they feel sad, they feel disappointed, they feel angry. Those emotions are not mistakes. They are part of life. But what happens next is what truly matters. If every uncomfortable feeling is immediately covered up with a reward, with food, with distraction, then the child never has the chance to learn how to move through those emotions. It is like carrying a child every single time they are learning to walk and are about to fall. They will never learn how to keep their balance. Emotions work the same way. Children need someone to walk beside them. not someone to rescue them from every uncomfortable feeling. It may sound like a contradiction, but sometimes the greatest gift a parent can give is helping their child understand this. You are capable of getting through your own emotions without running away, without filling the emptiness with food, without chasing immediate comfort, because life will always have difficult days. What your child needs is not a way to avoid emotions, but a way to live with them in a healthy way. Another factor that is talked about far less often is presence. In modern society, many families eat together without truly being together. Each person has a screen, a different thought, a different concern. But for young children, presence carries far greater value than we often realize. A child's brain does not grow through nutrition alone. It grows through connection, through eye contact, through the sound of a voice, through responsive interaction, through the feeling of being seen, being heard, being cared for. A child may not remember what they ate that day, but their body will remember how that meal felt. Was it stressful or peaceful? Was it filled with pressure or connection? Did it feel safe or full of anxiety? And those emotional memories are what stay with them the longest. Many studies on child development show that the nervous system learns best when it feels safe. This is true not only when learning to read, learning to speak, or learning to walk. It is also true when learning to eat. A child who feels safe is usually more willing to explore, more willing to try new foods, more able to listen to their own body, more likely to develop healthy eating habits. On the other hand, ongoing pressure often creates the opposite result. That is why battles at the dinner table rarely lead to good outcomes. You may win today's battle, but lose your child's long-term cooperation, and that is a very high price to pay. There is one image I always remember: a father sitting beside his daughter during dinner. He does not force her, he does not rush her, he does not bargain with her. He does not promise rewards. He simply eats with her, talks with her, smiles at her. From time to time, he asks a few simple questions. The little girl does not eat very much, but she is happy, relaxed. And most importantly, she feels that the dinner table is a safe place. Many years later, what remains is not how much she ate that day. What remains is the peaceful feeling she associates with eating. And that is the true foundation of a healthy relationship with food. Perhaps the most important thing parents need to remember is this: the ultimate goal is not to get your child to eat a little more today. It is to help your child build skills that will stay with them for the rest of their life. The ability to recognize their body's signals, the ability to respect their emotions, the ability to care for themselves, the ability to trust the signals coming from within. One day, you will no longer be sitting beside your child at every meal. You will no longer prepare every spoonful of food. You will no longer check how much they have eaten. You will no longer remind them about every bite. They will make their own choices, their own decisions. They will live their own life, and on that day, what protects them will not be the times you insisted on one more spoonful, not the times you worried too much, not the numbers on a growth chart. It will be the relationship they have built with their own body. Do they know how to listen to their body? Do they trust the signals coming from within? Do they know how to care for themselves with respect and love? Those are the questions that truly matter. And there is something beautiful about knowing this. Those things are not built through grand moments. They are built through ordinary meals, small conversations, moments when parents are just a little more patient, just a little more willing to listen, just a little more willing to trust. Because in the end, what truly nourishes a child is not only the food that enters their body, it is also the feeling of being respected, being understood, being loved, and being allowed to become exactly who they are.